everyone, it's Michelle Caruana from Play Cafe Academy, and today's video was inspired by an interview I gave recently in a group of women entrepreneurs and business owners. And this question has really stuck with me over the last couple days, and I've been thinking about my answer, and I wanted to share some of that with you. But before we get into the details, if you like this video, if you enjoy the content, give the video a little thumbs up for me, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It helps so much, and I appreciate you being here. All right, so the question that Cheryl asked me was, what are some attributes that I've identified that really separate these successful entrepreneurs in my groups and programs from the ones who either end up failing or the ones who never really get their business off of the ground? And of course, especially in 2020, 2021, there are so many unknowns and so many different factors, but I have noticed a couple trends, especially with the entrepreneurs in my Play Cafe Academy and Playmaker Society group, and I wanted to share them with you. Now, this isn't to say that those that have failed have done anything wrong or anything like that, because again, we're living amidst a global pandemic. But I did want to share these trends with you and these attributes that really separate the successful from the not successful. And I'm going to give some Play Cafe Academy specific examples, but this is really also true of any industry. All right, so number one, people that are successful in this industry invest in experience and knowledge, and they see the immediate value in it. And this is something that I've talked about in so many YouTube videos, but it's worth reiterating. This business is highly nuanced. It is unlike any other industry. There are so many different revenue streams you can have. There are so many different costs associated with it. And it's just a really unique beast serving parents of young children. And the people that I see generally open up and close pretty quickly. They've consumed a lot of my free content, but they haven't ever invested in the actual blueprint to owning a successful indoor playground. And that's not to say someone can't find success without learning from either myself or another mentor or another consultant. But it's very, very clear when somebody opens and then quickly redoes their entire business model or posts that they're struggling and they need support, or are clearly fledgling a little bit in their business. Is that the right word? Floundering a little bit, I guess is the right word. But you can really tell who has learned from the experience of others, seen what works, seen what doesn't work, and really set their business up for success from the beginning. Now, I will be the first to admit that when I went into this business venture, I was a little bit smug, right? I went to school for business. I have a master's degree in economics. I've owned businesses before. I was like, I don't need to, invest a ton into learning from others because I can just figure it out myself. I can do it myself. And I did pay several $100s to a very, very brilliant consultant, another indoor playground owner, Jessica Rubacek in Chicago. She owns the Purple Monkey Playroom. She is amazing and she helped me so much. But I wish I would have taken her more literally. Like, she gave me tons of advice. She answered all my questions. But unfortunately, the way that our session was set up is that she was basically reacting to all of my questions, and she gave me amazing answers. I would not change one single second of that. However, there were some things that I really didn't even know to ask, and she would have never known to give me the answers to. So not only do I wish I would have taken her more seriously, there were a couple of things she said, don't try to please everybody, limit the amount of surveys you do because that data is skewed. There's all sorts of things that she said to me that I didn't really take super seriously. And in hindsight, that was a big mistake. But I also wish that I would have had the forethought to understand that as a new business owner, brand new to the industry, I don't know what I don't know. So she wasn't able to provide me with the answers to these questions because I didn't even know to ask them. And again, that is exactly why I created Play Cafe Academy. Now, I get a ton of emails every single day, and it's from prospective indoor playground owners. There's actually someone looking to open up in my town, and a lot of them just don't see the value in investing even just a couple $100s in learning from someone that went before them. And to me, that is the number one first red flag that somebody isn't going to be successful. Because as Cheryl and I were discussing in her group, that trend generally continues throughout business. They're always going to think they know better. They're going to be a little bit smug, just like I was when I first started. And if I, haven't reminded you lately, our first and second year were absolutely horrible. Yes, I did eventually figure it out, but it took 2 years of struggle and financial devastation. So, thinking that you can do everything yourself, thinking you know it all, is probably the number one trait that I see most consistently in play cafes that end up closing. The owner thinks, they know better. And then unfortunately, they end up closing. So it's not to say that you need to invest in learning from my program. Do I think it is the best out there and it's the best value for the price? Absolutely. But make sure you don't go into this business, completely dark. It's a very rocky road if you choose to go it alone. So whether it be me or another one-on-one consultant, invest and see the value in learning from people who went before you because we've already made all the mistakes. There is really no need to reinvent the wheel. And a little side note, because Cheryl brought this up in our discussion, but sometimes when I log into my course portal and I look at how people are moving through the modules, because Play Cafe Academy is a very comprehensive program. It's 12 modules. Some of the modules have like 10 or 11 lessons. Some of them are, 20, 30 minutes long. And sometimes I'll get a bunch of emails or a bunch of questions from somebody who purchased the program. And I read the questions and I'm like, well, I cover that really extensively. Why are they asking me these questions if they've already invested in the program? And 9 times out of 10, I'll go in and yes, they've written the check and they've, patted themselves on the back that they made the investment in their business, but they're not actually consuming the content. They're not actually watching the modules. They're not doing the downloads. They're not implementing what they're learning. They're not taking the steps. Like in Play Cafe Academy, I literally give this is what you need to do step 1, step 2, step 3. So not only do you need to invest in someone's experience, but you also need to actually consume their content, listen to what they're saying, and you need to actually implement it. And yes, there's always going to be opportunities to tweak or improve or make things specific to your vision and your business along the way. But, I saw a meme the other day, and this is another thing that inspired this video, but it was something that said, like, I bought a gym membership 6 months ago and I haven't seen any results. I'm going to finally go there in person tomorrow to see what's up. And it's so funny because a lot of people will buy that gym membership or they will invest in a course and they'll just kind of check that item off their list and it will make them feel good for the time being. And then they'll never actually, again, put the plan into place and actually learn from that investment. So not only do you have to invest in someone's experience, but you actually have to listen to what they're saying and implement it. All right, the number two most common attribute that really separates so successful from not successful is that those who are really successful in this industry don't cut corners. So, this kind of goes along with and piggybacks along the line of knowing when to invest in your business and when to splurge and when to save. Now, a lot of play cafes that I see open and close, they generally go the DIY route with a lot of their renovations. They don't make a lot of interior improvements. They will go with the absolute cheapest materials, the cheapest flooring, the cheapest paint. And in turn, it will end up really being obvious to their customers that they don't believe enough in their business to make a real effort and to make a real investment. And unfortunately, a lot of these business owners will say something like, well, I'll invest when I'm able to, or I'll make improvements when the time comes. But unfortunately, first impressions are really everything. So if everybody in your town comes to visit once and they have a really bad experience and it's clear that you cut a lot of corners and went on the cheap, they're probably not going to be back. And that reputation is going to be really, really hard to overcome. So when people say to me that, they want to improve over time, I really encourage them to take a step back. I would rather have them open 6 months or a year later than they had planned and do it the right way than to just get something up off the ground just to, get it started and then unfortunately fail because, again, it's obvious to their customers that they cut corners in their business. And that's just something that I see a lot. And very similar, I see a lot of people cutting corners when it comes to bookkeeping, accounting. They're not hiring interior architects. They are really trying to DIY everything. And it's very, very obvious to both business owners and customers. Again, when you don't care enough about your business, the time is going to pass anyways. Again, I would much rather have you wait and really set your business up for success and take a little bit longer to open than open and have to close within the first year because nobody's recommending you, nobody's giving you good reviews, and nobody's recommending you to their family and friends. All right. The next attribute I want to talk about is that I've noticed that people who really find the most success, and not just financial success, but really just set their life up to be something that they enjoy. And that's the business owners who work on the right things in their business. So the people that are barely keeping their heads above water, both financially and mentally in this business, are those of us who try to wear all the hats. They try to be the front desk person, they try to be the marketing person, they try to be the accounting person, the manager, the person who places all the orders, customer service. Um, yeah, there's so many different hats that you can potentially wear in this business. And if you don't know how to recognize your strengths, where you are meant to work on in what you're meant to work on in your business versus what you're meant to hire or outsource, those are the people who are just constantly surviving the day to day, and they're never making time for those tasks that actually move the business forward, set the business up for a potential sale down the road. Again, I put a video out there about knowing what your exit strategy is before even opening your business. So those of the Play Cafe Academy community, again, who refuse to outsource anything, refuse to document their processes, refuse to ask for help, again, are the ones who are never going to have a sustainable business. Because if they are out of the picture for whatever reason, if they fall ill, if they get pregnant and have a baby, I've seen that happen so many times. If they have to move, their business completely comes to a halt and they have to close. And to me, that is a job, that is not a business. To me, a business is getting to sit kind of at a higher level and oversee different operations. Now, because the Play Cafe business model, it's very difficult to make money. You have to really hone in on specific tasks to make sure that you're profitable. You really can't outsource everything. But for me, I know that my biggest strength and my kind of secret sauce is marketing. That's what I love to do. It is the task that I feel most comfortable in, and it's where I can get the best results. And I know I recognized throughout, trial and error and just my past life experience that that is my most valuable skill that I bring to the table. So I put so much time and effort into marketing, and it really made me feel when I owned my Play Cafe like I was living the life that I really dreamed of, because I wasn't spending hours and hours and hours every week doing tasks like, running to the grocery store, making lists, placing orders, training staff, things like that. That's not what I really dreamed of as a business owner. I dreamed of having financial and time freedom, spending more time with my family, being able to take a zoo trip or pick my kids up and drop them off from school, things like that. Be able to, go visit our family a couple hours away whenever I wanted to. So when I see people that are just surviving the day to day and never setting their business up for a sustainable future, that is another huge red flag that they probably aren't going to make it. So, not everyone is going to be, have a marketing mind. You might be a former teacher, so your time is best spent teaching classes, coming up with a curriculum. If you are a numbers person, maybe you want to live in the books, maybe you want to find better profit margins, maybe you want to shop around for better prices for supplies or something like that. If you absolutely are an extrovert and you love being behind the desk, maybe you want to be your own personal sales team or your customer service representative. That's just never me. And again, if I was forced to do all of those different tasks, that's not owning a business. That's giving yourself not only a job, but a really, really difficult and underpaid and overworked job. So that is something that I always look for when I'm looking to really help people elevate their business. Is I say, okay, isolate where you can bring the most value, and then figure out what you can outsource and really document all of your processes, which is something that I teach so thoroughly in Play Cafe Academy, because it is so important. If you need help and don't know how to ask for it, or don't know which tasks are going to be easiest and most valuable and profitable for you to outsource, again, that's not setting yourself up for a sustainable business, and you will never be able to sell your business if that's how you operate. All right. And then the final thing I wanted to talk about is the people that I see that are really successful in this industry are the people that are always learning and always innovating. So they don't have a lot of excuses. They don't just take one course or one class or listen to one podcast and say, all right, I'm ready to go. And they just, put everything on autopilot. The people that are most successful are always analyzing their numbers. They're digging into their sales. They're saying, okay, how do we do this month? Did we meet our goals? They're setting goals. They're motivating their team with these number oriented goals. I'm not saying you have to tell your staff exactly what you want to make each month, but they're really, either themselves or they're hiring someone to really learn every single month and improve every single month. They're not getting complacent. Again, they're constantly innovating. And, it's really, this pandemic has really brought to light, again, who was really made for this business and who just, wanted to make a quick buck. This is not an industry that is going to be a get rich quick thing. It's not even really a get rich thing. Can you provide a really nice life for your family with this business? Yes, absolutely. But if you don't have a clear why in your business, and if you're not passionate about it, if you're not constantly looking for ways to better serve your customers and better serve your community, if your why isn't about making your community a better place, then you are very quickly going to fail in this industry because it's tough. It can be long hours. It can be frustrating. It can be an uphill battle trying to get things right. Again, especially if you don't invest in someone else's knowledge and experience and you decide to go it alone. So, a lot of times I'll see questions pop up in my inbox or in my coaching group. And it's just people saying, I tried this and it didn't work, so I'm never going to try it again. The people that, pick themselves up, dust themselves off when something fails or an event doesn't work out or they launch something and it didn't happen, they're asking why. They're digging into it. They're asking their customers. They're constantly surveying and asking people not only what they want, but what they need. Again, that innovation is something that is so important not just in the first couple of months or years of your business, but every single day, every single month. And if that's not something you're passionate about, then you need to find someone in your business, a manager or a business partner that is, because it is so easy for me to see again when someone just kind of gives up and lays down and just decides that their business isn't going to work, but it doesn't have to be that way. All right. I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, give it a little thumbs up if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. I put out a new video every single week. I hope that made you really motivated. I hope you saw yourself in some of these attributes. And if, again, everybody is different, everyone brings different perspectives and different experiences. So, what works for me, what works for one person might not work for another. It's all about learning, asking questions, and just never giving up and always putting your best foot forward. All right. I will see you guys next week.